This is my 4th year. So, this is George's Festival. He's had it since 1954, and he's done all the programming and had various people along the way to help, and I'm fortunate enough to kind of be in that seat for the last few years learning from the master. George likes to start almost right away. I've already got a wish list of things I'd like to, present that we probably will, visit in September. So, it's really 2 days of music and one night. We do an opening night on Friday nights at the U.S. Tennis Center Hall of Fame, and really with just 2 days of music, you could get this done hypothetically in a pretty short amount of time. But we're usually taking our time and weighing our options and seeing what's new, what new artists haven't we discovered that would be great to kind of debut at the festival this year. Mostly other people do The Killing as an artist that hadn't been out all that much, and prior year was like Darcy James Argue, and there's other artists that we'd like to find along the way, and maybe we won't find them till December or even January. So. Once we are shaping it, once the artists are we've got like an A-list of artists that we kind of go after, and then we start confirming them, and then once they're all on board, then we start slotting them to different stages. Some artists, just seem like it's really a main stage sort of, performance that they're doing, and other ones could go either way, and so, you'll find maybe more of the up-and-coming artists on one of the other 2 stages that's not the main stage. And we've expanded and grown what was the 3rd stage into now the 2 stages are equal sized with large tents. So there really isn't like being relegated to like the 3rd stage. That's really like having 2 other main stages, really. Yeah, for an artist that plays for 2 days, for instance, Esperanza, did an Esperanza and Friends on Saturday and an Esperanza and Friends on Sunday, and they're 2 different groups that she developed music for distinctly for these days and rehearsed them, and she's playing in the background right now, actually. Yeah, so there's a combination. I think she's doing some standards, rearranged, as well as some some original tunes. But yeah, that's a conscious decision on our part. But Trombone Shorty, for instance, plays on the 2nd stage one day and closing the main stage the other day, but it's the same band. So. Right. Yeah, you know what? The tent is lower. I think it's like more on top of the stage, and so it feels more cozy. And this stage, the quad stage now, is the exact same dimensions, the actual stage, but it's a bigger tent, so it feels like a little roomier. Right. But boy, the sound kind of stays in there, and it does feel more intimate than on the main stage, where the sound goes out. It's great sound when you're out there, but it's a different experience for sure. That is very cool. Yeah, I've gotten such great feedback from people saying, I'm glad you have this 2nd stage. I'll push my artists to play on this one. It's like, great. We want great artists on the main stage as well. But yeah, I mean, today was a case in point where it was raining, and so there were people that were just crammed into the tents to just stay out of the rain, and so there was a lot of energy in the and whereas on the main stage, Joshua Redmond's James Farm group was playing to a enthusiastic but much smaller crowd who were getting pelted by the wind and rain, but they were super enthusiastic, and Josh was feeling that energy, and the whole band was, and they were just putting it right back out. So each one has its own kind of dynamic. I know, as a person who likes to go to festivals myself, that's why I like to go, is to find artists I haven't heard, get turned on to new music and new artists. So if we can provide that and also help be a springboard for the artists, so much the better. I mean, George has been doing that for years. He was on board with Hiromi and Esperanza and Anat Cohen, long time ago, and they continue to come back to the festival often. So. You know, I wish there was a magic bullet. It really comes down to, you know, what kind of festival do you want to present as well? Because there are those that would say, you know, what's the term that somebody just recently used? NPR was saying upcycling. Upcycling, basically something akin to maybe crossing over something to younger audiences, younger musicians, artists taking their contemporary culture and reflecting the history through this contemporary lens, so to speak. So that could be a backbeat or an electric bass or something. And so some folks might say, well, you're sacrificing the integrity of a true jazz festival if you're going this more commercial direction. But if it's relating to kids and young people and you want to get them turned on to jazz, one might make the argument that if this gets them in the door, then to see the larger menu of what jazz also is, then maybe it's worth doing. I mean, it's a debate for sure. Yeah, so many festivals do, and you know they call themselves jazz festivals, and if they have some jazz on it, supposedly, you know, they could be a jazz festival. But that's not what Newport is. I mean, Newport is, you can see it's definitely trended towards being a real, you know, jazz festival. Some might say Trombone Shorty's not a jazz musician. Does he improvise? Yes. He's from New Orleans, and he puts on party music. I don't know if it's jazz, but people like it and they have a good time, and I think it can fit at this festival. But a lot of else that we do is, you know, there's Angelique Kidjo, which is world music. Eddie Palmieri's Latin jazz. We had Randy Weston's African Rhythms Trio, and then we had some people that were taking the music out in a kind of a ethereal, perhaps spiritual direction with Charles Lloyd and Zakir Hussain, and that we can kind of hear over to the side as well. So there's lots of territory that can be, you know, mined. Hi, I'm Jason Olaine. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, you can go see more videos from the Newport Jazz Festival at JazzTimes.com.